Y'all know what time it is. It's time for Mayday, Father's Day edition. Hello, everybody. How are we doing? Welcome back to the show. Mayday, a show about the show. Got it. Nailed it. Finally did it. I got my dad's shirt on. Celebrated my first Father's Day yesterday. Yes, I know yesterday was Father's Day, but I got to be catered to just a little bit. Like, I didn't have to do the dishes yesterday. It was awesome. So, happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. And thank you to my father for everything you did for me, because I wouldn't be here without you. I appreciate that a lot. Today's show is a doozy. I don't know if you know this. There was some breaking news last night. I know we usually start with a little bit of an opening monologue, but we're going to go right into the news because we just have to talk about it. And everyone's had their takes. I would like to get into the things that have happened, and we have so much awesome prepared, stuff for you today. So, without further ado, we're just going to get right into the news. All right, let's get into some heckin' news. Quite a few things happened here going into the final week of spring training as we get ready. News. I'm going to try to develop my skill at getting quickly through these things and just hitting them. All right?
Let's get into the news.
That was a live recap, or maybe a replay of my reaction when I saw that three-time All-Star Rafi Devers was traded from the Boston Red Sox to the San Francisco Giants last night. A lot of you didn't see that coming. We've talked a lot about Rafi, recently because, frankly, all season it's been one thing or another, right? It was very clear that Devers was not getting along with Craig Breslow and the people up on the fifth floor and the executive team. And he felt like he had earned his cornerstone franchise player status with the team and didn't need to make all these changes that he was being asked to make. We've talked a lot about how he has a point. There is a level of figure it out. Why am I always the option? I'm supposed to be the guy that you guys work around, not the person that you're throwing all over the place like I'm a utility guy. He does. There is some. I think he does. There's a point there, but at some point you can't throw your hands up every single time, or something like this happens. So Boston receives in exchange for Rafi Devers, Kyle Harrison, left-handed starter who's currently with the team, right-hander Jordan Hicks, who is in year 2 of a 4-year deal that he signed before last season with the Giants. And he is also, actually, I'm not sure if he's in the rotation. He's kind of bounced around a lot, but as you remember, he's a guy who throws really hard, and he's been a quality big leaguer for a long time. They also got outfield prospect James Tibbs III. James Tibbs III. I'm sorry, correct that. Wonderful name, James. Keep that up. I would call him Jimmy Tibbs, but that's just me. And then they have the rookie league right-hander Jose Bayo, who, it's the Red Sox. They love the last name Bayo. So when in doubt, right? So that's 4 players. In addition to San Francisco agreeing to eat the just over $250 million that are left in Rafi's contract. So Red Sox get 4 players and have to cover none of a franchise player's salary, the biggest salary on their team. In that case, if you're trying to shed payroll, that's one way to do it. But by all metrics, under the sun and otherwise, Rafi Devers is earning his money, even if he's a DH, because frankly, when he's in the field, his WAR goes down because he's not a good defensive player. I think he knows that, but I think everyone knows that, okay? But he is on his way to making another All-Star team after starting the season with 16 straight strikeouts or whatever. He has absolutely turned it on. He's a top 10 player in the AL, or was in the AL, in OPS. He took to DHing, I think, better than a lot of people thought he would, even probably surprised himself a little bit. And he's only 2 years, he's only a year and a half removed from signing that original 10-year, $313.5 million contract. So that kind of brings a lot of questions. I'm sure you have tons of questions, like how this thing works and what happened and all that stuff. So let's quickly try to break all of that down, because there's a lot to unpack here, and it's kind of hard to wrap your head around it. I'm getting Luka Doncic vibes, where they just didn't like the guy. The people who are making the decisions didn't like the guy, or didn't see him as a part of the solution moving forward. And unfortunately, the last member of the last World Series team in Boston has left the team. There's now nobody on the roster that was on that 2018 team. So mourn that, Red Sox fans, as much as you need. I'll be here. Okay. Why did the Red Sox trade Rafi? Let's talk a little bit about all the events that led us here and try to figure out what was going through the mind. Maybe we can figure out what the point of time that the Red Sox decided that Rafi probably wasn't in the plan all the way to 2033, because that's what his contract was signed to. He's a young dude. You make a commitment, and a year and a half later you change your mind. That there's a lot going on. The trade ends a fractured relationship between Devers and the Red Sox that had degraded since spring training, when Devers balked at having to move off of third base. Alex Bregman was kind of rumored to be talking to the Red Sox. He wanted to play third base. He's the Gold Glove from last year in the AL for third base, so you got to put him out there, right? And Rafi is notoriously a below-average third baseman, and the Red Sox defense has been horrendous for like 4 years now. Like, they're terrible, and they're constantly giving up runs for their pitchers. So he was never going to be a long-term third baseman, in my opinion. I don't think that generally means you're just going to go be a DH, but that made a little bit more sense to me. But he very clearly took that as a kind of a knock against him and his ability to play the position. So that happened first, and then they actually signed Bregman, which made it real. That was the first time we got unhappy Rafi in front of a camera. They said, "Will you DH only?" And he said, "No." Now we know that's going to change a little bit down the road. They also gave him no forewarning before just saying you're going to DH. So not only is he not playing third base, now he just has to sit there and hold his bat like a teddy bear and wait to hit. So that is not enticing to a lot of hitters for a lot of reasons. We've covered a lot in the past. But sometimes guys just struggle to sit there and just wait for the next AB. It bothers them mentally. Having defense to kind of be a palate cleanser between at-bats is sometimes good for a hitter, okay? Then Tristan Casas gets hurt in early May, ending his season. Rest in peace. Feel bad for Tristan. I wish he was out there, because I think the game's a better place when Tristan Casas is out there having way more fun than everybody else. That brought up questions. Who's going to play first? This was thrown out there when Bregman was signed by the Red Sox. Maybe he can play first, but we have Tristan Casas. Well, now we don't have Tristan Casas. Can we make our DH-only guy now move in to play first? Again, Rafi's like, stop it. I don't want to do that. He even said the front office should do their jobs. Boom. Say what you want to say, okay? So he's like, just go find somebody else to play first. We can find somebody else to play first, which they did. Romy Gonzalez is playing first base. They've tried some other people out, and it's worked out generally. But after he made those comments, he started to get some attention from the front office and the owner, John Henry. Not a good sign. You never want your owner, especially the guy who signed that check for $313.5 million, to be like, hey, bro, you're still an employee no matter how much money you make. You don't like that. So here is a quote from Pete Abraham from the Boston Globe from last night. He said, per Red Sox sources, the team's feeling was that a $313 million contract comes with responsibilities to do what is right for the team, and that Devers did not live up to those responsibilities. They had enough, and they traded him. See, okay, so the interesting thing about this is everyone wants their franchise player. It's so rare, and this is why it was crazy about Luka as well with the Mavericks. Once you find that guy, you don't let go of that guy. Once you decide that he is your guy, you don't go back on that idea, right? You stick to it. It's like part of your long-term plan. In January in 2023, we thought Rafi Devers was that guy, right? Now pretty much every team has a $250 to $300 million player. He's usually the center of the team, and then you build around him, and Rafi was that guy. Then they decided, we don't think Rafi will make any sacrifices for the rest of the team. He just wants what he wants, and we have to build around him, which is kind of already how teams kind of generally are. I think that's what his expectation was, and he didn't want to be the one being jerked around and having to worry about this stuff. That was for someone being paid a lot less money. Now, you can call that selfish, you can call that whatever. There's a little bit of a point there, but there also has to be I'm ride or die a Red Sox, so I'm going to do what I need to do. You have to land on that if you want to stay in that city for a long period of time. Full stop. That's just, you can be mad, you can be frustrated, but eventually you got to find a happy medium where you're like, I am here to play baseball and I want to win baseball games, and the money is nice, but I want that first. And if that means just DHing, that means just DHing. But if it's pulling teeth every time they need you to change anything at all, they can get off you pretty quickly. And it seems like with the new GM with Craig Breslow, which is really interesting. We'll talk a little more about him because I was actually his teammate for a year, and all of this is very surprising to me from a lot of places. But they just don't keep their center guy. They haven't done it either. And you guys may remember some of these other choices they've made recently that are very similar to this one. Remember these guys? That's Xander Bogaerts. He was a longtime shortstop and also in the conversation for being a franchise player long-term with the Red Sox, and they let him go in free agency. Now, that's a little different. Guy plays for 6 years, then gets a free agent contract. That's his highest leverage time to get a big contract. So letting a guy get to free agency almost always means they are leaving, unless you're Pete Alonso and you try everything and then you have to circle back. Usually, when it comes to free agency contracts, the grass is always greener in terms of money because other teams aren't as, there's a bidding war in there. So if you get there, you usually leave. So I'm going to give Bogaerts a little bit of that's more normal for that to happen. What isn't normal is trading MVP Mookie Betts after they win a World Series. That isn't normal. And that's one that's stuck in the craw of a lot of the Cape Codders up there for a while. Mookie Betts is the one got away. He has almost supplanted Babe Ruth in that role. And now Rafi has followed suit and went over to the West Coast with the other two. And now, surprise, they're all in the same division, which I just realized. So that is interesting. And now there's nobody from that 18 team. So we have completely fully rebuilt from the 2018 team. It is interesting. Actually, Mookie Betts had a comment after the Dodgers 5-4 win over those same Giants last night. He said, I just thought it was crazy. Nothing really to say. It's just crazy. I genuinely don't care. It is what it is. Okay, that's the first time I read that. I got to be honest. That's the first time I read that. That's good. I honestly genuinely don't care. Like I'm not going to get all hot and bothered by the Red Sox and their decision making, but that is kind of crazy. And it's kind of crazy. That sounds like a guy who just really doesn't want to talk about this. All right. So cool. He's gone. Craig Breslow. Wasn't a big fan. I think that was pretty apparent from the beginning. And you got to think about it this way. So here's been my experience with Craig. I got to be very clear. I am a huge Craig Breslow fan. I think he's one of the most intelligent, thoughtful, and measured people that I ever had shared a clubhouse with. Our lockers were next to each other. I was rehabbing Tommy John, so I was just kind of sitting there listening to him and Matt Belisle talk to each other. But it was pretty clear he was going to be a GM. But what he doesn't have is an abrasive bone in his body. Like, he doesn't come at you for no reason, but he does stick to his guns, and I think that's kind of what happened here. It's it's hard for me to think that a player like Rafi too, who's very likable as well, had like a personal problem with Craig Breslow. I think this just Craig just says, hey man, like this is hard. This job's really hard and it's Boston. Like I got to figure out a way to piece this thing together, and I can't just pay everybody. That's not how it's going to happen. So you gotta work with me here. And he wasn't getting a lot of that going. But I think at the end of the day, John Henry was the man who was like, you know what, I'm whatever. Like, whatever you need to do. If he's in your way, let's go. And I think that's kind of just what happened. And it's just one of those unfortunate circumstances. There is another side of this. Remember, the Giants, who are good this year and just got an all-star. Like, we voted on the all-star game last week. I put Rafi Devers in DH for AL. Uh-oh. I don't know what happens now, actually, because now he's against Otani. So this is interesting. We'll see. We'll see how this works. I genuinely don't know how it's going to work. But he goes over to a team that has a lot of the same problems as the Red Sox in terms of personnel. So let's first, before we get into that, let's go into what Devers is doing this year. His triple slash is 272, 401, 504. He's got 15 homers and 58 RBIs, which makes him the RBI leader for the Giants currently right now. That's about what his career average is, maybe slightly better in the slugging category. So this is the most homers he ever hit, right? He's tied for third in the MLB in RBIs as well. So they got a very good player who's playing good this year. This is actually a quote from Buster Posey, their president of baseball operations. I just think that the bat's so special. So do I. My thoughts are it's really hard to acquire the type of talent at this point in his career. I agree with that as well. It's pretty unprecedented. We're obviously taking on a lot of money. We're giving up some pitching, giving up our first-round pick from last year. That's Tibbs. So this didn't come without a cost, but we felt like this was a chance to take a shot. I fully agree. If they're willing to get rid of him, I think that the Giants got a W here, right? But like I said, personnel problems. Who's the third baseman? Oh yeah, Matt Chapman, who got paid a bunch of money last year. He's going to be their full-time third baseman. They don't have him right now. He is nursing a sprain, I believe an ankle sprain, but he will be the third baseman. So that leaves first base for Rafi. So now we're back to where we were before, because guess who the DH is? Wilmer Flores, who just happens to be leading the Giants in RBIs with 51 and having the best season he's had in years. So, like, you can't just be like, all right, Wilmer. Wilmer was on the hot seat. He has earned his spot. He deserves to be out there. But, again, he's a little bit of a defensive liability as well. So, like, which guy are you going to put in the field? So, the question is, would Devers consider playing first base for the Giants? I guess we're going to find out about that in the next couple of days. I'm going to be blown away if he just goes out and does it right away. And it's like, you know what, I'm good. Let's just go play first base. That is interesting. So we got to see how they're going to move those pieces around in order to get the most out of the three guys who are very good players and also being paid really well. I don't know what they do, but I will say, especially since Lamont Wade has gone and Dom Smith has taken over playing first quite a bit, that Rafi can go play first base. If he can just play a passable first base, having his bat in that lineup will be next level. I have a question here. After being the DH all season, could he play third until Chapman comes back? I wouldn't do that. Just throwing that out there. Would not do that. Either go first or keep him in DH. But I don't know what you do with Wilmer. Maybe Wilmer plays first. Maybe those are the two options. But I think you need to. One of those two guys has to be the first baseman moving forward. And there's one last interesting personnel situation with this Red Sox or with this Giants boondoggle. I don't even know if that's the right word. How would long-term commitment to Devers impact the path for a top prospect like Bryce Eldridge, who is also a first baseman who is raking at third base, AAA Sacramento, not to be confused with the Sacramento A's. They just happen to share the same minor league park. All right. So what happens then? If Devers goes over to first, what happens? I would say DH is probably the long-term solution because Flores eventually isn't going to be there long-term. This might be his last year with them. Then now you have someone to slot in there. But in the short term, if he's not ready to come to the big leagues, then you just throw Rafi at first. That's what I would say. I would say that is probably the best way to do it. But long term, he is a DH because I think that the production this year has outweighed or has been great as a DH, which isn't something you can count on coming to spring training. So I'm interested to hear what you guys think. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. Rafi Devers, who's going to win this one, and is the haul that the Red Sox getting back? Jordan Hicks in the rotation, hopefully helping out, or Kyle Harrison. Will either one of those guys be able to pick up some of the slack that the pitching over in Boston is struggling? Maybe it's a stopgap situation. And what do we think about these prospects? Are they going to come up and are they going to be a big contributor to this team moving forward? Rest in peace, 2018 World Series champs, Boston Red Sox. One last little piece of news before we move on. Shohei Otani. He's going to be pitching in the big league game. Everyone gets super excited. He's doing his rehab in the major leagues. Because of course he is, because he's a freak of nature, like in a good way. So he'll be making his long-awaited season debut on the mound against the, I believe, San Diego Padres. He's going to do an opener situation, throw 1 or 2 innings. This is very normal for Tommy John rehab. He's been throwing tons of bullpens, and they really have been able to just take it one step at a time. It was about a week ago that they said, he's not going to pitch till after the All-Star break. Maybe we'll wait till August. We're not really in that big of a hurry. But, as we know, the Dodgers have dealt with a lot of injuries. It would be nice to have a guy that can throw 3, 4, 5 innings in the second half of the season for them, especially at a guy at that caliber. And they're very impressed with how his command and how polished he has been coming back. We've seen the videos of him in the live BPs just absolutely buckling guys, though those guys were probably, the utility guys still. Those swings looked real bad. So Shohei Otani is coming back, and boy, oh boy, am I excited. We're going to get into some housekeeping and then in our main story for the day in just a moment after this word from our sponsor.
Kratz, real question for you. So I'm in Arena Club, and I opened up a slab pack. I pulled a Wyatt Langford auto rookie card. I got an immediate offer from Arena Club. I turned it down. It was in the mid 300s range. I've gotten a few offers since. Thoughts on Wyatt? Should I hold on?
I saw it. I didn't see it when you ripped the pack, but it looks so sick with everything around it and how it's spinning in your showroom. That John looked nice. But no, you shouldn't sell it. Maybe wait till he makes an all-star or 2, and all of a sudden that 300 goes up, and you're going to get another instant offer right away on Arena Club.
That's right. Buy, sell, trade. Slab packs are there for you too, to rip a pack. And for me, I'm just leaving it in the showroom for now. I'm deciding what I'm going to do with it. But if I did want to sell it, then I can get myself another slab pack or buy a card that I want to buy. Get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/Val. Use code FOUL.
You can get your own slab pack, 20% off on your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/Foul and using code FOUL. Thank you for Arena Club for sponsoring this episode of Mayday. Some quick housekeeping. Join my Substack. A lot of you guys may know about this already. We're doing some written articles, some behind-the-scenes stuff there. Most of it is free. There will be a paid aspect, and will be a way to support everyone here at the I Am Trevor May Media with some projects. So very excited to announce that. But I have a new project, Trevor Throws Cheese, that I will also be documenting there on the Substack, doing like the plan before the videos are. So you're gonna get stuff before I actually release the series. So go check out the Substack and go sub to the Mayday podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, so you can get the audio versions of this show. Also, real quick side note, there is currently a no-hitter going in the College World Series. Arkansas has one going, so we will keep you updated on that as we go. But honestly, it's in the chat, so you guys probably know more than I do. but that'd be pretty crazy if there's no header pulled off. If you guys were wondering about Trevor Throws Cheese, I actually have a little informational video here for you. I'm ex-Major League pitcher Trevor May, and I used to throw like this and look like this. Then in 2023, I retired. Now I look like this. Recently, I was giving some pitching lessons to my 9 and 11-year-old nephews, and they asked me to show them some of my pitches. Let's just say they weren't impressed. I threw 100. It's on TV. For the last 2 years, one question has been popping to my head. Could I touch 100 again if I trained only to throw bullpens and not actually have to pitch in any games? So I asked my friends, my family, and obviously the internet. So here we go. For the next 5 months, I'm going to attempt to get back in shape, get my velocity all the way back up to 100 miles an hour. Can I do it? There's only one way to find out. I'm going to make a plan, follow it to a T, and even bring in experts to help me get there. And you will be able to follow the entire thing on my Substack and on YouTube videos that I'll be releasing throughout the summer. This is Trevor Throws Cheese. Isn't that fun? So go subscribe to the Substack. I will be doing little journal entries and we will be following along as we go there. All right, let's get it right into our next segment. There was an anonymous player poll again. We did a video on this last week. This is a series that is done by The Athletic via the New York Times every single year, where they go and they give a survey to a bunch of Major League players on some sensitive subjects sometimes, and then they get to answer those questions anonymously. They compile it and they put it together into an article. This year, though, there was 5 articles, all of which kind of ask different questions and get kind of different answers. And we're going to go over them, and I'm going to tell you what I think, and I want to know what you think. Boy, these are so fun. I did these every year. I couldn't wait, because it is the best way to just complain. And there's nothing better than just complaining. All right, so let's do this, and let's get right into it right now. Let's get the chat up in there as well. All righty. The anonymous player poll. Poll number 1. What players do the other players love to watch? Who are the favorite and least favorite players in the league according to players? I have some information here. By the way, really, really great reporting for everybody. This one's Casey Borowski, and the staff writers. So please go read the entire article. The Athletic is more than worth it. So I'm not going to tell you everything. We're just going to go over some of the highlights of these. And really, if you want to support this reporting and these people's work, make sure you go subscribe to The Athletic. It is one of my go-tos every morning when it comes to baseball news. All right, the first question was managers guys want to play with. The top 5 choices in order, with number 1 being my doppelganger, according to the internet, Bruce Bochy. 16% of guys were like, Bochy's the man. He's won 4 World Series. The guy's a legend. And he's still doing it, just hobbling around and being low voice Bruce Bochy. I agree with this wholeheartedly. And I'll be honest, this top 5 are all my top 5 probably, right? So the top 5 were Bruce Bochy, then followed by Terry Francona right behind him. Stephen Voter, come on. Craig Counsell, and then Brian Snicker and Dave Roberts kind of tied and fit, which is cool. And then there was, obviously Alex Coro's out there, Carlos Mendoza, Aaron Boone, like all the good teams generally, AJ Hinch, like they liked him and they were interested. But the other interesting one was players you don't want to play for. Far fewer responses, surprising absolutely nobody. But the number one guy, the number one guys, because there are 2, by a kind of a landslide, were Bud Black, the former Rockies manager, because they were absolutely horrendous when this was taken, and they continue to be horrendous. So I don't know why I said they were, because they still are. And then Ollie Marmol, 5 votes each. And the reasons given were like, the Rockies suck, and I don't know. He just gets thrown out a lot. Which, you know what? I'll be honest. I think a bunch of guys cop out there. I would have really specific reasons. They do too. But again, don't rock the boat, and you won't get too many waves. You know what I mean? Other managers also put out there. Mike Schilt was a positive one. He was also not liked by a few people. Ron Washington, and they're just like, but just because I want to use my cell phone, we've covered that. That's not his fault. Gabe Kapler got in the list because everyone, I don't know, they just probably think he's too woke. Or he's just an eye guy, or just like a look at, I don't know. Maybe he's too jacked. I don't know. Maybe it's wearing the aviators. I don't know. It could be anything. But he's not a manager, guys, so he can't hurt you. Don't worry. And that's kind of where the managers and who they want to play with go to. All of that makes a lot of sense to me. It probably makes a lot of sense to you guys as well. Then we had the second one, poll number 2. MLB players make it clear they won't play for the A's. But which managers, teams do they like? Now, we just talked about managers. Oh, these are in the wrong order. The last one was the thing. This is the anonymous player poll. Which players do you love watching most? I'm so sorry about that. I'm an idiot. These are different. These were reversed. I don't know why, but they are. So this is actually the first poll. The players that other players enjoy watching the most. Surprise number 1 is Shohei Otani, greatest player in the planet. Cheat code, might be the best player ever. He's not from this world. We get it. And he's just fun and complains a lot when he's hit. And then following him are Bobby Witt Jr., Ronald Acuna Jr., all the juniors, Ellie De La Cruz Jr. and Mookie Betts Jr. Those are like the top 5, all for their athleticism, because they're freaks. They do crazy stuff. And then we have Fernando Tatis has been thrown out there. We had a Michael Harris mention, which is cool, and Bryce Harper is thrown out there. And the only pitcher is Paul Skeens. So at least we got that. Okay, but what hitters do pitchers fear the most? Ooh, this is good. Let's get into these ones. I'm going to actually switch this back before we do this because it's driving me crazy. All right. Let's talk about hitters. The pitchers are scared of the most. Juan Soto, 15%. Yeah, that tracks. I'll go with that. Shohei Otani, 14%. And Aaron Judge. Those are the top 3. Anyone surprised? I'll be honest, I'm surprised Aaron Judge isn't number 1 right now. For the power thing, but Juan Soto, good batter, indifferent. He is a nightmare to pitch to. Nobody likes it. You can't strike him out. The other 2 guys strike out, and Juan Soto doesn't. And as someone who struck guys out, I hated it. There were some other ones thrown out there. Yordan Alvarez, because he's massive and you think he's going to kill you if you hit it back at you. Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, all the regular ones. And Jose Ramirez finally makes a list as well. He's in there. But there's some great comments and great quotes, so make sure you go read the full article. What about pitchers? Hitters least want to face. What pitchers are the scariest? Number 1, Chris Sale. I agree with this. I would have went with this too. He's funky, he's nasty, and he punches tickets, and he's a bulldog. He's a scary dude. He's just a dude who throws like nobody else. You're never used to it. It's awful. And he was followed closely by Tarek Skubal, Zach Wheeler, and then Aroldis Chapman in his prime got number 4 on this list. There are some other interesting ones here down at the bottom. Go check out. But I'll be honest, did not see everyone else also agreeing Chris Sale, but I would have said Chris Sale in my top 3 as well. So that was really awesome and interesting. But I wonder what you guys think. And honorable mention, Michael King made the list, which is pretty cool. Good for him. Love to see it. All right, let's get into the third one. Robo umps might be coming to the MLB. Are the players for or against them? Yes, we are doing it. We're here. Okay. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred announced the automated ball strike system, ABS, may be implemented early 26. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. I have some other things to get into. But 63.4% of players oppose full Robo rump. Reeling it back in. 63.4% of players oppose full Robo umps. Got it. Nailed it. First try. Only 17.1% are in favor, with 19.4% like, no. Which, come on, guys, you know. And they're mostly scared about it removing the human element, right? Because who cares if humans play the game? So Here's the main arguments being made, and I'm going to parrot a lot of these because I agree. Loss of the human element, it'll take away like humans playing against humans and human error, which is kind of the point of the tension, right? If you think something might go wrong, that just adds a little bit of flavor. I appreciate that. Impact on catchers. They're graded very heavily on framing and ability to steal strikes, which I think is a skill. That'll go away. Everyone hates that. Some people don't trust the technology. I'll be honest, it is pretty easy to rig it, and I don't necessarily fully trust the commissioner's office and everything they say. So that does bring some questions in, like if you could just adjust it to get the things you want. I don't like that at all. So I agree with that. Uncertainty creates strategy. A little bit of uncertainty, people's got to make adjustments and make predictions. When you add more certainty into the game, it becomes less fun to watch. Agree with that. And competitive balance. I don't know if there's a lot of competitive balance problems. I think that it'll be the same both ways. So I'm not super interested about it. But the people who really like it are like, we need to get every single call right. I don't think that's true. And you can correct big missed calls in the strike zone like you would out in the field, like if a ball's fair, foul, whatever. They want that. But that is solved by the challenge system. And I think that's a lot of people are really, really excited about the challenge system. So they really, 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 really want the challenge system. The sentiment switches, and about 66% of guys are for the challenge system, but not full Robo umps. Okay? Additionally, there were some write-ins. Player suggestions for improving baseball. Now, this is what I want to hear about from you guys in the comments and in the chat. Let me know what you think of the player suggestions for improving baseball, okay? Schedule changes. Less games, more off days. I'll say it again, a little bit louder for you. Less games, more off days. Same footprint of the season, 183 days, just take 10 games off. Yes, do it. I am a huge proponent. I think that you will get the injury rate will go down significantly with 10 less games. 10 less games. We're not talking about cutting it in half. We're going 152 from 162. Unfortunately, the number of games in any sport will never go down. It will only go up ever, because there's like literally they can measure money made per game, and when you reduce the number of games, there will be less money made for that owner, and they're out. No. So it'll never happen, but I fully agree with it. They also have mentioned maybe every Monday off like the minors. Now, that's a lot of off days, but I think that's sick. Some said maybe we should just do 7-inning doubleheaders. I would have loved that as well. Fans hate that shit, so it'll never happen. Actually, I don't think I can swear here. Crap. Sorry about that. And there's one minority view that I put in bold red. You'll be able to see it. I think it's in red in massive letters. It said one player suggested a longer season. Shut up. Go sit in timeout. Shut up. Stupid. A lot of players said they want some rule changes. They want them changed again. And the popular ones were bring back the shift. Do the fans want that? We're going to talk about that in a minute. Eliminate the pitch clock. That ain't happening. Scrap the 3-batter minimum. Remove pick-out limits. Allow pitchers to step off. And remove the recent catcher's interference rules. So those are all pitchers. Those are all pitchers. Nobody... Every single one of those guys is a pitcher. There's no way that's anybody else. So my guys, I appreciate you're on the right side of history. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen, but I do think that you were on the right track. And some extreme views. I mean, I like sliding the bases, knocking the catcher out. Okay, same guy won a longer season, I'm sure. We're all so tough. Anyway, there were some other interesting ones. Just really quickly, I'll touch off the top, and then we'll move on to the next poll. They would love for better marketing of players, better media presence, whatever. There are some changes happening there. We are going to cover that in our main segment today, which I will be getting into in just a moment. Labor and economic changes. This is irrelevant because we're going to have a CBA negotiation after next season. Players would love to get rid of a year of arbitration. That means you're going to get a salary cap. So if you want that, you're going to need that. That's the way it's going to have to work. But I do agree with that. I hate arbitration. If you're going to either crap or get off the pot, I don't care. Get rid of a year. It'll solve a lot of problems. But unfortunately, the trade-off will have to be some sort of salary cap or salary cap function that is beyond the luxury tax that currently acts like that way. There was also some random outside the box ideas, which I want your opinions on. Match play, golf style. Like each inning is won individually, kind of like tennis. I don't know about that one, Chief. Expand the league to 32 teams. I like that. Make retractable roofs mandatory, so everyone has to have them, so there's no more rainouts. Love that as well. Umpire demotions for poor performance. That kind of exists, but not in a standardized or formal way. They should do that. Double the first base bag like softball style. We talked about this the other day. I agree with that one as well. Home run derby to settle extra innings. I don't think that's more fun, though pitchers don't have to pitch, so maybe I am on that. And then just remove the strike zone graphic from TV. Never happen. That'll never happen because it literally enhances the viewing experience. It just does. People enjoy it better. They like knowing one way or the other if it's close or not. It's better that way. It just is. Even if it's not entirely accurate, it still makes it better. And I am the final word on that. So nothing else. You can't say anything else. So, okay. All right. Poll number 4, guys. We're gonna hit these real hard. Poll number 4. MLB players' impact on sports betting and fan interactions. We talked a lot about this too. I'll give you guys their high-level stuff, and maybe give you some anecdotes. So there's been a lot of death threats, concern over financial vulnerability. They're worried about death threats and family threats. Obviously, a lot of people have said, I lost this amount of money, so I'm going to come after your family. Saying horrible stuff like that. It's terrifying. Are they usually mean nothing by it? Yes, but it only takes one, and it's just you got to take these things seriously. And MLB security has to be on top of that stuff, and it has been happening more and more and more. Not just in baseball, everywhere. You add financial stakes to a sports game. I just said sports game into sports. It's just going to add more emotion. It's just the way it is. We've covered that when we come to the top. But there's one thing that someone mentioned that I hadn't really thought about: a concern over financial vulnerability of younger players being targeted for potential match fixing. When betting numbers get really high, now the incentive. You can incentivize a young guy who's not making a lot of money. You could pay him a lot of money to fix something if the number's high enough. That does open the door a little bit. I don't think it opens it a lot, but it opens a little bit. And that is a slight concern. I'm not super concerned about it, but it seems like some players are. So they're generally not super happy about it. And also some players have mentioned that there's also baseball players who bet on other sports. And sometimes, just like the people it affects their mental health a little bit when things aren't going well. Teammates have seen that happen to their buddies on their team, where like they're just losing a couple more than they would like, or they had some big stakes on something else, and it just kind of affects them a little bit, and they seem a little down. And like this is a slippery slope as well, because you already do a high pressure job. So like that's just extra stress you're adding to your life. So that's been mentioned as well. Obviously, it is a choice. You don't have to do it, but it could complement things in the past. And it is, at the end of the day, your choice to make. But I do appreciate some players having that concern for their teammates. It makes a lot of sense to me. Here's some specific examples from a couple guys. One NL pitcher said, "People suck, dude." He said he muted the word parlay on social media to avoid seeing gambling-related posts. Smart. You can mute words on on Twitter. You can do that. So good luck. Whether or not it works remains to be seen, but good luck. And one AL East pitcher said they just deleted social media completely, which I would say if you're going to do it, go that road. And I'm sorry, fans, that means less interaction for you, but it is what it is. And you got to do this. So all very interesting. It seemed like guys had a lot to say, and I did not expect this. So do our guys super happy about the way it is? It was hard enough with fantasy sports, and now athletes are trying to navigate their way through it. If what you want is for them to kind of retreat and no longer be available to you publicly, then that is what they need to do. Then I highly recommend that's what you do as a player. All right, the last poll, really quick. MLB players talk biggest misconceptions about playing the game in general, like travel, missing family events. I've talked a lot about these things, but these guys are about to back me up. So real quick, let's hit it. Number one, mentioned the grind, schedule, being tired and losing time. You miss out on a lot of things. You don't get 4th of July with your family ever. You're working. You are the entertainment on 4th of July. Mother's Day, Father's Day. You're literally playing every day. So you're never going to do any of these things. That can suck. And a lot of that has to do is a big reason that I didn't have a child until I retired. And that was a conscious effort. I thought about that on purpose because I didn't want to be absentee, and that wasn't fair, and I didn't want to miss stuff. And actually in high school, this happened even before. In high school, I missed my junior prom because of baseball. Like, it literally, baseball's just, it's all the time. So more so than other sports. So you do miss out on a lot of things, but that is just a sacrifice you make. It's just one of the many. The reality of the travel, this is great. You're constantly living out of a suitcase and never feeling grounded sucks. That was big deal for me. Travel fatigue builds. Literally, late arrivals, changing time zones, constantly going to bed later and later, trying to catch up on sleep. You're always thinking about catching up on sleep. And even with charters and everything, it is the best case scenario, but the way the season's set up, with the number of off days, it's hard regardless. And there's often no times to even have any ability to enjoy the city or use any energy from the traveling itself, because that's a lot of times the fun of traveling, and you don't even get to do that. So that is grueling. It's grueling in this weird slow burn. Like, by the time it's September, you're like, I hate walking. I hate moving. Moving sucks, and I don't want to move anymore. So, it is what it is. And then there's the emotional toll of the stress of like actually playing, and it's 162 games. You got to be ready every single day as a reliever. It sucked, but it also was awesome. It's just one of those things. Like, it's a day-to-day thing, just like any job. Some days you're excited to go in, some days you're not. Some guys are like, I hate it when people say baseball's easy because it's so hard. And we collectively as a whole, Major League Baseball players, we hate the debate about sports and about which sport is the hardest. It is so annoying because it's obviously baseball. No, it's not. Actually, I would say it's if you isolate into a single event, like one game, playing in one game, one contained event, I would say golf or tennis are probably the hardest and most grueling because it's a weekend. You're playing a ton of matches, a ton of rounds all at once, and you got to be super locked in with hand-eye coordination. You can't get off by a centimeter, and you're getting exhausted. Golf especially, like, I can't imagine what playing on Sunday is, especially if you're leading the tournament and the stress. Like, a little bit like a little yip can just ruin your round. So you have to be perfect in those two, in my opinion, and they're exhausting. But in terms of an entire season, I think baseball's up there. Football's obviously up there as well, but they play once a week and they get a day off. So mentally, they might have a little bit more rest than baseball players do. So, whatever. Yell at me in the comments. It is what it is. Also, life off the field. Not everyone parties. No, they don't have a bunch of houses. Vast majority of guys don't have enough money to retire on, even if they played for years. You don't start making real money until free agency, and most people don't get there. So the baseball player, like, there are some baseball players that are absolutely balling out. Okay, let me be very clear. But it's a small percentage, just like it's a small percentage for all the other sports. There's so many baseball players also. There's just so many. So, like, the chances that you know someone who plays professional baseball and doesn't have very much money, it's much higher than you know somebody who has a lot of money. So I know for a fact it took free agency to get me in the position to be able to retire. And it's like that for the most, especially if you're a reliever, because no one likes you. All right. And then your careers are short, and it sucks. So sad. All right. those were the player polls put out by the New York Times and The Athletic via the New York Times. Great reporting. Evan Drellick, I believe, Saros is in here maybe. This is Annie McCullough. Like, they do amazing work. I truly believe that they think outside the box. I love that they report. It's fun. It's less like, this is what happened, and more like interesting takes on the game and behind the scenes. I think they're giving some of the best behind the scenes view of the game that is out there. So if you're going to subscribe, you want to do a physical media or like a newspaper subscription, this should be one of them. The Athletic does good stuff, and they cover all the sports. So I am a big fan. I am biased. I do rates and barrels with them as well, but like, I truly do always really enjoy it. It's like what I would be writing, the topics that I would cover if I could cover them. So highly recommend. If you like this show, you'll like them as well. And shout out to them for their amazing work. So we are going to get into our main story of the day, our number one story. We'll probably have to carry it over into hour 2 over at Trevor May Baseball. So bear with us here. But before we get into that, we have one more word from today's sponsor. That is PXG Golf. Take it away, boys.
It is summertime. We are in the thick of golf season. It's always golf season down in Florida, but we're in the thick of golf season across the country. And someone's looking to get a new club. That logo should say it all. PXG. What do they do?
Go get fitted.
Mm-hmm.
Go get fitted by one of their master fitters, professional fitters. I've done it. It's helped shave many strokes off my handicap. It is worth it. It's educational. You learn about not only clubs, you learn about shafts, you learn about grips, you learn about angles. They have all the numbers, all the setups that you need to help improve your handicap.
You feel like a VIP when you're there.
100%. They even help my putting, which needed help.
Mm-hmm. There. They help your putting there.
There.
That's how cool it is. So schedule your fitting today, and for a limited time, you could save up to 20% on your entire order. Head over to pxg.com/foul. That's pxg.com/foul to save up to 20% on your entire order. pxg.com/FOUL. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Speaking of golf, schedule your PXG Golf Club fitting today at pxg.com/foul. Save up to 20% on your entire order. Restrictions apply. See site for details. Into our our main story for today. Changing the rules. Hey, Rob. It's good to see you, man. Changing the rules. Baseball, as a game, has been steeped in tradition for over 100 years. Baseball did not change any rules for a very, very long time until very recently, about 10 years ago, 2015. Actually, to be honest, Rob took over in 2016. About 2016, there started to become rumblings of some wholesale changes to be implemented throughout the league year to year. We've come a long way in the last CBA. We've had the joint competitive committee put out there where players and the commissioner's office vote together on these things, and they get put in much faster. And there were some goals because the league saw some changes in the game, and the changes in how the game is watched kind of coming at them like a freight train. The games were too long. People didn't want to watch them that long on TV. You got to figure out how to shorten the game. Actually, there was 3 main categories, okay? 3 for why some rule changes were made. Okay, we were trying to shorten games to make them faster for the viewing standpoint. We wanted to curb cheating after 2017 with the Apple Watch thing, with the Red Sox, and 2019 with the Astro scandal. And then we also wanted to make sure that we were just getting calls right and just making the game a better product in general, right? Trying to keep people healthy, just make the obvious stuff, protect fans, all kinds of stuff, right? So there's these 3 kind of buckets we were trying to get, and a lot of them have been put into place, and we've had for a couple years. So I thought we could go back and see how are they doing, did they work, and do people actually like them at this point? So I asked everyone on my Instagram community, Baseball's Alive, Trev May 65 in Instagram, if you want to go join that. It's a blast. We always do a bunch of polls, and I just flooded them with a bunch of polls asking them how they felt with each one of these rules, and we're going to include their feedback as well as my feedback as we go through these. There was a lot. I want to hear what you guys have to think down in the comments and /chat as always. So first things first, we wanted to speed up the G-Dang game. Speed up the game, Trevor. You frickin' take too long between pitches, and they were right. They were right. Yeah, I do. It's awful. I was so slow. I get it. It's probably my fault. mere clay buckholes. Anyway, so let's quickly go over them and see how they have affected the game. So in 2015, we had the between innings clock. Now, I know this is the pitch clock now, but this clock has been there for a while. Between innings, the breaks are 2:00. They lowered them. They set time to where we had to come back from commercial. So it's 2:05 locally. It was 2:25 national broadcast. So they put it out there to time you, and then they changed the time in 2016. So this is 15-16. They put this in. The people, they spoke, and they said, it's fine. Nobody cared about this one. This one was everyone's like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Who cares? You're going to see that a lot. People learning a lot from my Instagram. And then we have so this is the reduced inning break. I have a guy with the camera here because there used to be a light on top of the wheel or the well camera, and it would be red, and then it would turn green when we were ready to play the game. So the umpire would look over and go. That's how it used to do. Then they put the timer up so they didn't have to worry about that. So that's what this guy's here. He's watching hockey, so I thought this would be funny. But then in 2017, and nobody cared about that one either. But then in 2017, we added the instant intentional walk. This is Garrett Cole walking who? Rafi Devers. Surprise. Just thought I would do a little callback here. So instead of having to throw the pitches, where like Pat Light infamously overthrew the catcher twice and the guy scored from second, trying to walk somebody, now you can just be like, boop, and throw them out there. Though it's rare that players do it on their own. Usually I'm looking over and they're like, walk Otani. I'm like, I don't want to. I'd rather give up double than walk someone on purpose. I have enough walks. Sorry, I didn't expect to get that fired up. And then, how did people feel about it? It's fine, indifferent. Nobody cared again. It sped up the game. Doesn't really matter. Though I kind of hated it because everyone, you want to see a guy throw it over, or like a guy mess it up. You can get the yips. It's kind of funny. Whatever. Tension. We're looking for tension. Then, what else happened? We have the 30-second challenge window. So managers can now challenge in 2017. Hit them with this. I thought this was great, and everyone else gave it. It's fine. Seems pretty great to me, but they didn't really care about the 30 seconds, I don't think, but it's fine, and they love it. So most people are a fan of the quick, that whole thing to get the challenge out there. Then we had the 3-batter minimum. This is Ollie Perez. He is infamous for throwing a one-hitter at a time. So 3-batter minimum. How are we feeling about that one? It's fine. Love it. More hate it, though. Hate it moved it in. Hate it was top 4, which is good. So I don't really like the 3-batter minimum. I think it's unnecessary. It doesn't really speed up the game either. I didn't feel it. But we'll see if that's true in a minute. But the 3-batter minimum, it's fine. It is just fine. It's okay. Then we have the pitch clock. Came in 2023. Pitch clock. 15 seconds with nobody on, 20 seconds with somebody on, 30 seconds between hitters, and the batter must be looking in 8 seconds. Do people like the pitch clock? Yes. Everyone loves the pitch clock. I hated it, but I have come around. I love the pitch clock now. Yeah, I think it made a big difference, and I think that I needed it. I think I needed it to grow in here as a person and as a player. So I agree. Based, as always, by the community. And then we have the 2 pickoffs only rule. Now this one I still hate. I think it's still stupid. I hate it. So you only get 2 disengagements, and it's a balk if you don't get them out on the 3rd. Let's see what the people thought. You 126 people were not pitchers, evidently. So more people love it than hate it, which is disappointing to me. So be better. All right. Then we have a couple small ones, like mound visits were reduced from 5 to 4, and that was indifferent. Everyone's like, I don't care about that. It did speed up the game, but I don't really care about it either. A lot of people didn't know it even happened. And then this last year, the runner's lane was increased by 6 inches, meaning you can run in a little bit of wider lane to get to first and not be interference. Predictably, no one gave a crap about that either. We even have who cares in the second roll? So mostly people kind of forgot that these things existed and they weren't super duper worried about it. But did the game speed up? They did. The games did speed up. But we're going to have to get into the rest of this, and we will do Stop the Cheat after this break because I'm going to switch us over to Trevor May Baseball. Everyone in Foul Territory, thank you for watching. If you want to continue watching, Twitch, stay right where you are, and YouTube, I'll see you over at Trevor May Baseball in just a couple of minutos.